The latest FNAF 2 trailer has come out, and now I think we have a clear understanding about what's going to happen in the movie. From the first teasers giving us a hint that the animatronics will be leaving the establishment and attacking people, to the FNAF 2 location being the first location rather than the one that we see in the first movie, and public events revealing the roles certain actors will be playing. From the newest trailer, we can see Vanessa dealing with her past, Abby being summoned by the animatronics, and hints to the past of Fazbear. But there's still a lot of information here, leaving us scratching our heads about how this movie will play out. None more so than the identity of the security guard played by Freddy Carter. Who is he playing? What is his deal? And could he be linked to Vanessa and William Afton? I have a lot of thoughts on how I think FNAF 2 might play out. So without further ado, let's get started. Figuring out who Freddy Carter is playing, I think, is important to understand the rest of the film, so we'll be discussing this first. Freddy Carter was rumored and all but confirmed from official sources to be a part of FNAF 2 back in January of 2025, with the belief that he would be playing Jeremy Fitzgerald, as Jeremy was the main guard during FNAF 2. Speculation also came that he could be playing a younger William Afton in flashback scenes, as he fits the idea of a younger William. When the confirmation that Thaddeus Crane was returning for FNAF 2 and reprising his role as Jeremiah, many people shot down their thoughts that Carter would be playing the guard Jeremy. But then who? Well, when Blumhouse had their FNAF panel at San Diego Comic-Con, the clip that was shown to attendees, that also leaked online, was a scene where McKenna Grace's character and her team of urban explorers/paranormal investigators are exploring the inside of the FNAF 2 building, like we saw in the trailer that released just a few hours before on that day. In the clip, Freddy Carter is the security guard showcasing the building and the animatronics and giving some exposition on the establishment and the robots.
Welcome to Freddy's. Foxy was involved in a failed, take-apart, put-back-together attraction and was never quite the same again. Kids can be so heartless.
Yeah, he's giving some definite creepy vibes, and I'm not the only one who noticed. People took Carter's performance as a clue to who he might actually be playing. He comes off as this very sly and calculating person, noticing what other characters say and replying to give just enough information but keeping some secrets to himself. His facial expressions also make him appear much more devious, as Twitter has aptly called him Devious Daniel, as well as many other names. It's like he's putting on a theater performance of the overtly creepy and evil character. But is this all a red herring? I don't really think so. But there's something he says here that I feel needs to be brought up, as it's too similar to a line said in the first movie.
You did your homework.
Wow. You really didn't do your homework, did you?
Fair warning. This place will prey on your imagination if you let it.
Look, it's been a weird night.
Sounds like Freddy's.
Some friendly advice. Don't let this place get to you.
Both Vanessa and Carter's characters say a similar phrase, which for two characters who are acting in similar capacity story-wise of revealing information about the Freddy establishment is too similar to ignore. When Vanessa is first talking to Mike, she acts a lot more like Carter's character. A calm, charming personality with a persuasive, almost devilish smile on her face. Of course, this is all a ploy to get Mike to trust her for her father, William Afton, before she is able to overcome his control and eventually help Mike. There's also the funny little case where, in a roundabout way, both are watching over their respective Freddy's establishments. Carter's character as the actual security guard and Vanessa as a cop, checking in on whoever guard is hired to work there for her father, William. What I'm getting at here is I think Freddy Carter's character is connected to William Afton. Now, the obvious guess is that he's Michael Afton. He even looks like all the popular fan arts of him. But I think it's deeper than that. I don't think Scott intends for there to be two Mikes either. In the behind-the-scenes pictures we've gotten, movie Mike is envisioned off of Michael Afton, fan art and otherwise, and I think Scott wanted to keep it simple and cut off the Afton lineage part of Michael, at least for now. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe later on Mike is revealed to be an Afton, especially if we are leading to a FNAF 3 showdown like the game. Which yes, Hudson is a possibility, but even after what Matthew Lillard said about FNAF 3 showdown...
Does anyone know what happens in the third game? Mano a mano.
Seems to be that it's Michael versus Afton, but I digress. I don't think Scott would introduce another Mike to the movie universe, especially when having a third act twist about Mike Schmidt's lineage is right there. There are other theories about him playing Fritz Smith, who is likely Michael in the game's timeline anyway, or perhaps even Sammy Emily from the novels, who is Charlie's brother, and we will be seeing Charlie and Henry in this movie, and there is some possible motivation for him to be an antagonistic figure, but I'll get to that later. I, however, am in the camp that Freddy Carter is an Afton. We see in Vanessa's dreams and flashbacks in the newest trailer that she could have siblings, so Carter could be a sibling to Vanessa, and possibly another case of character inspiration from the games influencing the new ones in the movie. A child of William Afton, who, unlike Vanessa, did want to aid her father and did it out of making him proud. What I'm saying is, Freddy Carter's character is a gender-bent version of Elizabeth Afton. This whole theory predicates on the idea that Michael Afton's characterization in the games is similar to how Vanessa is in the movies. As I stated before, both of them having similar lines of dialogue when introducing Freddy's to unsuspecting guests is a choice, and I feel like we need to pay close attention to that. Carter also has only one line of dialogue in the latest trailer where he states,
Half of this town will be dead by morning.
Now this line could be read as simply a scared warning about the toys being released. Oh no, they're gonna kill half the town, we have to stop them! But coming from Carter and just how I read it, it comes across more sinister, more as a villain monologue than anything else. Who else monologues and has some control over some animatronics? Elizabeth. I know this is out there, but if you look at Vanessa as a version of the game's timeline Michael, a kid who's forced to follow his father's orders, as he does go down to that dislocation bunker, and possibly help his father in other ways and does not like him, Carter playing a gender-bent Elizabeth does work. Now, will Carter's character be called Elizabeth, or something like Eli, or Elijah, or Elliot? I don't think so. If I'm being honest, he might just be called Fritz, or might even be called Michael. But I really doubt the Michael name drop here. I think Michael Afton just doesn't exist in the movie universe, aside from Mike Schmidt and Vanessa taking that characterization and splitting it into two characters. Who Vanessa, by the way, seems to be the emotional core of the film this time around. Vanessa's past seems to be front and center in this installment. Her trauma and dreams she's having seems to be central to her arc based on the latest trailer. This shot in the trailer looks like she's trying to do something similar to what Mike was doing in the first film, using the sounds and memories of her past to awaken her dream memories. Turning on the white noise of the TV, blacking out the lights, and using items likely gathered from her father's victims as Garrett's plane is right there. Is she trying to remember what happened, access the kids via her dreams like Michael did in the first film, either to help Mike or Abby or to find out what's going on with the new Freddys? It's hard to say, but we know at some point Vanessa and the puppet will interact. I wouldn't be surprised if Vanessa and Charlie were friends when they were younger. The newest trailer also reveals to us that Afton is the one to make the Freddy's animatronics and the restaurant as a whole. Vanessa hides in the workshop garage that William is tinkering and planning the new Freddy's animatronics, seemingly for the location we see in the first movie. Version 3, to be precise. Could that imply an earlier version of the Freddy's band that isn't the toy versions? Are the Unwithereds actually real in the movie timeline? We know the FNAF 2 building is the earliest building in the timeline, and seemingly used the toy animatronics early, rather than Unwithereds or classics. It is a little confusing since the toys look so new and recently installed, yet the building and signage with them is so old. Perhaps instead of Fazbear going from the classics to the Unwithereds, then the toys, then back to the classics as they did in the games, they first started with the Unwithereds, moved to the toys, then changed the Unwithereds to how they looked in FNAF 1 when the toys location was closed and they moved to the location we see in the first film, then with the seemingly relaunch of the toy location, rebuilt the FNAF 1 animatronics back to their earliest incarnation, the Unwithereds. Of course, this time, withered. That would be the timeline for the movies if that were the case. Although, the timeline of events for this location, to the toys, to the Withereds, and the first location animatronics is all a little confusing if that's the case. It's a lot less clean and honestly kind of worse than the game's timeline. Maybe the toys are actually new, rather than existing since the early 80s or late 70s, created by whoever Freddy Carter is playing using the parts from the Withereds to power them. Kinda like in the games. We'll have to wait and see, but figuring out why the toys are seemingly so new, yet the building is so old and the Withereds existing is all an enigma. Maybe the Withereds are new as well and aren't the classics rebuilt. But that would seem odd to go in that direction story-wise, and it also wouldn't help to explain. Abby is once again central to the conflict of the film. Just like the first movie, the animatronics want Abby for some reason. Last time they were controlled by Afton and wanted another friend to play with forever. Could the same thing be happening this time? Afton is likely out of the picture, at least as the main antagonist, but his work and deeds are still at play, as we see with Vanessa. We see in the first trailer that Abby is interested in robotics, as she's building a model of Chica in her room, possibly for a school science fair, as a scene that has been rumored. Although Toy Chica is the one rumored to be part of that, and since we see Toy Chica in a school, I'm guessing somehow she makes that way to that school. Based on what Vanessa states to Mike about repairing the animatronics,
The story that you're gonna fix those animatronics, it's only giving her false hope.
I'm guessing Abby wants to return to Freddy's and repair the animatronics, so she's learning robotics to help do so. And either Vanessa or Mike, or maybe from Fast Fest, is how she acquires that Chica model, and perhaps the Fast Talker. Speaking of Fast Fest, that event might be how Fazbear, or whoever is seemingly reopening Freddy's, is launching the new location. We see Mike with a flyer for the new location stating a grand opening. Although if this was opened prior, wouldn't it be a reopening? Maybe this is an old flyer Henry has. Regardless, after getting that Fast Talker, she is brought to the new location, and from there, I honestly don't know what will happen. Why do the toys want Abby? The Withers don't seem to be in charge here, and I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be a Twisted Ones-like fight between the toys and the original animatronics, where the toys are the enemy being controlled by whoever Freddy Carter is playing, or by someone else. The puppet has been rumored to be in charge of the toys in the film, conducting them like an orchestra based off of lines and dialogue in that San Diego clip, and posters from the FNAF event YouTubers Daco and FNAF were at a few weeks ago. But why would the puppet send the toys out to kill people in the town? From what we know, Charlie isn't that malicious. I do think there is another person at play, Freddy Carter's character. If he is an Afton, whether it be Michael or a gender-bent Elizabeth or something in between, that could explain the reason to use the animatronics to do his dirty work and cause as much pain in the town as possible. If he's Sammy Emily, however, that could also explain why he and the puppet would work together. He's wanting revenge for her death. But why would Sammy want Abby? That's my struggle with saying he's Sammy. And if he's in charge or made the toys or working with his sister, then what do they want with Abby? The puppet will play an important role, we can be pretty sure about that. From the credits of the first film, to her only time showing up in the trailers being with Vanessa, and of course the flashbacks to what seemed to be Charlie's death, where she seems to be saving a kid from the Yellow Rabbit and is instead killed. Charlie is the inciting incident based off of Skeet Ulrich's lines. She died before the MCI, and something that was possibly considered an accident, likely falling from this trapdoor in the floor after Afton was unable to kill that kid that she saved. Whether that kid is Sammy or simply someone Afton tried to make his first kill, we'll have to see. I have a lot of thoughts and speculation on the FNAF 2 movie, and most should be answered when it comes out here in just a few weeks. I feel really strong about Freddy Carter being a version of Elizabeth, or at the very least taking her place in the movieverse like Vanessa and Mike did with Michael Afton in the last film. It is still quite possible he's Sammy, just wanting revenge for his sister, but again, what would he want with Abby? In any case, this movie is looking to be even better than the last, and I cannot wait to see it. Once it releases, I'll be making a quick video on my spoiler-free thoughts on it, then after a few weeks release a spoiler thoughts on video or theories on whatever new information we get from the movie, and where the third one might go. I'll see you all next time.